Absolutely fantastic. Wow. Gentlemen, I think we are in for a real treat tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, we are live in studio. This is our band show, the 10th episode. That's right. Pretty soon you won't be able to count these things on your fingers, and that's a real accomplishment that we are very proud of. But more of that later, because if you guys just heard what I heard, and I know you did because you're tuning in, and there's a whole lot of you in the chat right now. Thank you to everyone watching. Comment an octopus emoji to show the band some love. Speaking of the band, Slumber, New York City's Slumber. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We when you guys first contacted us to come play, I mean, we were instantly blown away, I think, by the professionalism and the quality of the recordings and the way you guys seem to carry yourselves. But seeing it now live unfold in front of us, it really comes full circle. I mean, you guys can cash the checks that you write. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. We put a lot of effort into the music we're writing and recording and putting out into the world. We don't like to put anything out that doesn't reflect us and the band in general. So whatever we can do to make people feel special and music feel heard, that's all we're going to deliver.
I absolutely love that, and we have a lot that we're going to be delivering to you guys at home tonight. There are so many of you watching, and we do appreciate it. We're seeing comments in the chat already. Yeah, John from Michael Jara. We're seeing Nicole saying, "I love you, John," and Slay, and so many other people in the chat just hanging out and joining. And I think we have a lot of questions for you. But guys, we really just met, so I know a lot of the Our Band Show audience are probably hearing you for the first time. And so, what is Slumber? Where did you guys come from? How did you form? I don't know how you guys want to take this, but I want to know from day one to now how we got to be where we are.
So 100%. So Slumber started in 2018. John and I were both in college. We went to Brooklyn College together, and our first ever college class for both of us, day one, freshman of college, we ended up sitting right next to each other in our music history class. And, it was very acquaintancy. It was like, hey, I see this guy. We have a friendly relationship. And, John, do you want to take the second half of that?
Yeah, you meet a lot of people in college, and I met Nick, and Nick is like, dude, you should come over to my house one time. I write songs, I play guitar. You should come and we'll jam. And I'm like, yeah. And I live pretty far away from there, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to happen. And then lo and behold, one day he's like, yo, class got canceled after our music history class. Why don't you come and we'll jam in like the pack, like, the student center. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I brought my bass today. Let's do it. And he's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And we just know that there was something there from the start. The first time we started playing with each other, we needed to do something with this chemistry. So, and then a band was born, and we called it Slumber.
I was solo for a while before. I had a high school band, and then I was solo for a period of time, like about a year or 2 years. And I was looking for someone. I was just looking for someone to kind of back me up because I had just really started playing guitar on my own also. And that's when I met John, and I realized he was a bassist and had a bunch of other talents and music stuff. And so we started playing initially, and we wrote a couple songs. And then, Kristian, do you want to talk about how you entered the fray?
I guess this is where I come in. All right. Yeah, so I was actually met Nick going to a coffee shop. I was studying to get my real estate license. So I was going there like every day. I don't know how Nick found out I was a drummer, but they had a show coming up literally the month of the big, 2020 situation. So we did a gig, and I played with them, and then next thing, 2 months later, family. And we just been writing ever since.
Clarifying, a friend of mine who worked at the coffee shop, shout out Sydney if you're watching, told me that Kristian was a drummer. We were looking for someone to play the show with us. It was March 5th, 2020, if that gives you any context as to how close to the line that one was. But it was the big show we ever had booked. So we were like, we desperately obviously need something to back us up. And Kristian started practicing with us in January of 2020. And then, after we did that show, it was great. The world shut down, and then we got back into it. And then pretty soon after that, we just started writing all the music that we have coming forward now.
So Kristian, you were in the coffee shop, just hanging out, enjoying coffee, right? And I'm wondering, did it get to the point where Nick knew your order and there was like some chit chat, some friendly banter? Like, what was that dynamic? Because I'm sure in New York City, it's got to be pretty. The amount of people that come and go constantly, there's got to be somewhat of like a cool chemistry there to like have a conversation form that leads to being in a band.
Quiet. It's a large iced coffee with oat milk and a heck ton of caramel.
I was just about to say that. I didn't even have to order. Like, it's just walk in, sit down. Nick is taking care of me. Like, yeah, it's just, you don't understand how many good days I had because of this. Because people just put off the little stuff. Just seeing him smile, him writing on my order, the good vibes will like literally set my day for the rest.
And I noticed some good vibes in the green room before we went live. I hope the band doesn't mind me disclosing that there was such a loving hug that they all shared with each other, and it was really just genuinely nice to watch. I think sometimes you just want to see that people still love each other, and I definitely get that vibe from you guys.
John just had some on his shirt. I was trying to dust it off.
Wait, is it still there? Oh man, I'm wearing white today, man. You gotta let me know about these things.
No, it's very loving. We've spent a lot of like late nights together. Our schedules nowadays are very hectic, and so we end up spending the wee hours of the night together just practicing and finding our time. So it's every moment that we can spend together is valued. So I think that almost after the pandemic, I guess that it's obvious, but the people that you love, it's important to see them as often as you can. It's always good to hang out with these guys, and obviously we're creating music as part of that, so it's even more of a benefit. Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, life gets busier post grad, and Kristian, you became a real estate agent, I assume.
Yeah, for a couple of things I do in the industry, but yes.
Okay, so I mean, you got a busy life going on too, and how do you guys make it work? And then that dynamic of New York City on top of that sounds absolutely crazy. I've heard stories of bands renting practice spaces, getting kicked out of practice spaces, being double booked at practice space. Traveling with gear on the subway. It really doesn't sound fun, I'll be honest with you guys. Talk to me a little bit about, because we're country kids up here. We'll be honest, So talk to us about how you guys make it work post grad and into your early careers here, and that dynamic of New York City as well. The Big Apple is such a beast.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. We're all really busy people. I'm a teacher. Kristian works real estate. Nick does film, and we all just do a lot of stuff. And our schedules are very, very packed. But we're kind to each other. We make it work. Sometimes late nights, I get home from work, band comes over 9 p.m., work until 1 a.m. on some stuff in my basement. The rest of the house is asleep, and we're trying not to wake them up, but also trying to make some really good music. Yeah. Other nights, we'll go to, I'll drive out from my neck of the woods, Staten Island, all the way to them.
Yeah, we should clarify that.
Yeah.
We rotate between. We don't actually do a practice space in the middle of the city. That technically would make more sense. But Kristian and I live very close to each other. We live on Long Island, in a town called Valley Stream, and either the two of us carpool and drive to John's place in Staten Island, or John drives with his stuff to us, usually my place, in Valley Stream. So we flip between the two. We have a rotation system as much as we can, so one person is not doing all the driving. But we find the way to balance ourselves out that way.
And usually the shows take place in some sort of central area, so like Brooklyn, Manhattan, occasionally Queens. That's where we'll play, just because that in New York City, that's where the shows happen. That's where people come out and look for and listen to live music, original live music. So yeah,
right. That's the key word. Cover bands have a little bit easier times getting booked at shows that are also meaningful too, where it's not just like you and the bartender and the other bands, right?
Yeah.
So how do you guys decide where to play? Figure out the venues you want to play? I mean, New York City is so huge. To find a scene sounds real difficult.
Yeah.
What's been your experience with that?
It's kind of, it's a lot of network, like a lot of the things in the entertainment industry. It's a lot of, we have a friend in this band and we're trying to push to open for them, or, we have a friend who works at this venue, so we know we can try to get a show in there. It's really just about, it's not really who but it is a lot of just like talking to people and seeing like what can we get, what can we open up with, where have we explored in the city yet? There are so many venues in the city. Unfortunately, a couple of them closed through the pandemic, but there are so many venues that still exist that are great. So it's just about trying to find the right little keyhole to get in the door. But most of the spaces are really cool, and we've played a lot of really interesting shows with a lot of interesting people, both touring bands and also local New York City bands. So we've been very lucky to be on some of the shows we've been on. We haven't ever been on anything super wild. We've been paired with really interesting artists around the world here.
I would also like to add in not forgetting the Dream as well, because some of the venues we've actually performed in was like almost pictures that I saw when I was like 10 or 11. So it was like a check for me to now continue to keep dreaming, not just get older, not think about, okay, even if it's the wildest dream, if we're floating in the air playing instruments, like why not think about it? Because it's going to happen.
Hey, Metallica dreamed that they would be the first band to play in Antarctica. And
they were.
And they were.
As a Metallica fan,
they
were.
I totally agree with that, Kristian. I absolutely love it. You can't give up on it. We don't spend all day setting this show up because we want to give up. We want to have a great live stream. So totally, that's awesome. And New York City, it's people probably think, oh, it's easy, I can get booked. There's just so many venues,
Nope.
but competitive, extremely competitive.
Everyone's an artist. Everyone has something to say and do, which is awesome. It's so cool that a lot of the people that I work with and know just personally are really talented human beings, but the inverse of that is that everybody's vying for attention all the time, as opposed to somewhere that might be a little bit less busy. It's difficult to kind of grab the attention of people who are just kind of like, I have an art exhibition this day, and I have a concert for like a big artist this day, and so trying to find our niche to really pull people in and say, hey, this is our show, this music that we're making is worth your time and worth looking at and listening to, and even deeper than that, just like following us, just following our journey upward.
Fantastic. And you know what, Nick? I think that if there was ever a segue, is a great one to start listening to some of this incredible music, because let me tell you, the chat is going crazy right now. We are...
Put the octopuses in.
We're not seeing enough octopus emojis, but
More
there's
octopus.
a great conversation going on, and I think you have everyone's attention. So before we jump into another set of music, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Drop some octopus emojis to show the band some love, and we're going to show you guys some love right now, because we love this next batch of songs. Our first set of the night from our new friends here in Slumber. Gentlemen, would you please take it away?
Yeah, it's actually good we're talking about love, because this song is about how much you love someone, but when arguments get in the way, it's how much love prevails through that. It's called Someone I'm Not Used To.